anything in health and wellness, just go back to basics. We know that what's going on in your system, in your gut, will show up on your skin, on your hair, on your skin. So you can't just approach skin health topically. You have to approach it from within. So for us, it was really important that we formulated plant-based supplements that can really give you all of the things from the inside. Women don't want to sacrifice on luxury products that actually work but are safe for the skin. So that is really where St. Joe wants to be part of your lifestyle in all of those essential ways. So how can we make sure we're treating your, overall wellness as a full body movement versus, just really giving you one product. There really is no one miracle product.
Hi guys, on today's episode, we have my friend Allyse Cirillo. Allyse is the founder and CEO of St. Joe, a luxury and clean skincare line. We talked all about some misconceptions with clean skincare. We talked about if you should be on a retinol or not, and if that is actually doing you favors with aging. And we also talked about Allyse's 80-pound weight loss and how she effortlessly maintains that. I love Allyse. It was so much fun to sit down with her and have this conversation and learn things I did not know about building her business, and I think you guys will really enjoy this one. Allyse Cirillo, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for having me.
I am so excited.
I'm so excited. I really love you.
I really love you too. We were just talking about it beforehand. We met like a couple months ago and immediately we're like, wait, we're the same.
Yeah.
We should hang out every day.
Mm-hmm. I know. We don't hang out every day, but we should probably start.
Yeah. Entrepreneur life.
Exactly.
Time is limited and I feel like we're both back and forth, especially from New York a lot. And it's like we tend to be passing ships.
That's okay.
It is.
It is.
So you founded your wellness brand, St. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about how you got started with that.
So I got started with the beauty industry about 4 or 5 years ago. Okay. I was working alongside a naturopathic doctor, helping her formulate, really diving into the industry. When I got into the industry, I really saw how misleading it was. So that was really what created this almost like fire inside of me of like, wow, everything that we've known about beauty was kind of not really that truthful. So
what do you mean?
It's really about the ingredients and just the products that are out in the market. Mm-hmm. So understanding even manufacturing practices, understanding the ingredients or just the products that we've grown up using really were causing some of our skin concerns. So once I had saw all of that, I knew there was a much more needed purpose into this like clean beauty world, right? So
what do you mean? Sorry, I just want to double click on that because I feel like I personally, we both love to shop, and beauty is one of those industries that especially now there's so much great marketing out there, and we're like, part of what we bond over is we love a lot of the same brands. We love a good aesthetic. And that's why a reason I love your products because I literally keep them lined up on my counter and it makes it so easy to use them, but I like looking at them. It's aesthetically pleasing. But most products out there that are as well marketed as your brand is, you just said, could be causing some of the skin issues that we have. And I feel like that was definitely the case for me, especially when I was in college. But what are the ingredients? What is happening with those harsh chemicals that's actually negatively affecting our skin?
Yeah. And that is really what I had learned when I jumped into understanding an ingredient list, right? So we've heard, no parabens, no sulfates, right? The common things that we know, okay, baseline, we don't want those on our skin, in our hair care, right, on our bodies. But really when you go deeper, you're really picking and choosing some of these ingredients that are considered safe, but long-term effects are going to age us faster, right? So really understanding and looking at not just the pretty bottle, but turning around onto that ingredient list. And some of the ingredients you might not even be able to pronounce, and that's okay, but really do your research and understand how will your skin react and what are what's the science behind that? Is there fillers? Are there synthetics, right? So you go into this clean beauty standard and most of the time it's it's basic. It's almost every brand should be following the clean beauty standard.
Right.
But realistically, the standard is not enough. And that's really what ignited me to start creating my own brand, because I knew if I was a beauty lover, right? Beauty shopper, you could have had me purchase almost anything if I walked into a department store or a store like Sephora and Ulta, right? But now I'm so much more conscious of what's in that product, and is it going to slow down the aging process? Is it going to give me that longevity of skin health that I'm really looking for? So really, when we saw that most of the marketing fluff that's there is, silicones, right? Silicones make your skin look amazing, but long term, they're going to, deep down, hurt the rejuvenation of your cell repair, right? So all of these products that are amazing on the skin right now won't be if you continue to use them long term. So that's really what I saw when I was diving into it and working really closely with chemists and formulators, even the medical grade skincare, right? So for me, medical grade skincare was pretty much the only routines that I was using,
right?
Because it was a regimen. It was someone telling me, use this step, then at night use this one, right? And even that, I kept wondering, why do I need to rely on Botox? Why do I need to rely on fillers? Why am I so hormonally breaking out? So all of that kept me questioning, well, what is really in these that one work, right? Because there are a lot of science behind it that those products do work.
Right.
But long term, what is it really doing for us? And that was that aha moment to say, okay, we really don't need these high, harsh ingredients or these fillers or these toxins that are helping us really short term.
Right.
Because we need to start thinking about our longevity.
Got it. So some of those harsh or those strong medical grade skincare products could be damaging our skin long term. So it's like, I always think of, I remember I worked with this marketer when I first started Pureform. We were thinking about getting into medical aesthetics, and he was like, just remember, people love a treatment or a product that burns because it feels like it's doing something, or tingles, right?
An instant gratification, something.
Yeah. Like it's just like, it's almost like we were talking about NAD earlier. And there's something there when some people feel a side effect that they feel like they can feel it working. Right. But it makes sense to me that it's like when you're constantly, I was always doing these like deep detox masks or like these like strong vitamin C's that would burn. And then your skin's dry and then it's trying to repair. And it's always just like in this like up or down.
And that's the disservice that this industry has done for us, right? It's told us that we should feel a little burn, feel a little irritated, chemical peel our faces off to get youthful skin. And that really wasn't, your skin has everything it needs to rejuvenate itself. So once you kind of go back to basics, right? It's anything in wellness, right? Anything in health and wellness, just go back to basics. Go back to what your skin can really recognize and use to work on its own. That, I think, is the point that we're missing. And we've gotten so far away from our ancestors and the basics of just, wellness in general is just going back to ingredients that your skin can really recognize and slow down the aging process. That's what this is about. So it's about products that, one, you want to feel something instantly. You want to see an instant glow. You want to, feel your face being refreshed and glowing, but you also want to know that there's going to be benefits long term. And that's really where I knew we had to create a system where you can, you don't have to choose. So you can get that instant gratification, but you can also make sure that you're using products that are going to give you lasting results long term, that you can continue using for years, right? So that was what was really important with how do we find the white space in such a saturated market, right? Who needs another beauty brand or skincare brand? But when you really saw what was truly missing out there, and when women feel really overwhelmed, what products should they be using? What products should they be using when, right? Not even just which products should they purchase, but once they get into their bathroom, okay, well, how am I using them? How am I layering them? It's so overwhelming. So to have a brand that, one, does all of that work for them, gives them a numbered step where products are actually worked to build together and work with your skin. That was, that moment of, okay, there's still space for this. There is space for women to feel simplified, but without, compromising on any of the luxury things that, us as women really look for, like
Right.
beautiful packaging or instant gratification.
Right. Because that is like, I do want to note that as soon as I started using your skincare, I was like, oh wait, my skin feels really nourished. It felt hydrated, but not oily. And I started noticing my hyperpigmentation, like from living in Florida, I have hyperpigmentation on my forehead, under my eyes. And after like 2 weeks, I was like, oh, these spots are definitely lighter.
Oh, I love hearing that. Thank
I know.
you.
I really wish I took before.
I know.
before pictures.
We need to get that.
I know. I'll see if I can find any. Like, I need to find like some makeupless pictures from a few months ago. But yeah, it's like they really work, but they're not stripping. And I feel like the overall texture of my skin has improved. And you hear that from a lot of your clients, right?
That is the number one thing that we keep hearing. And that's really what we formulated for. So we talk a lot that we are safe for sensitive skin, but you really shouldn't be overly sensitive.
Right.
You're overly sensitive because your skin barrier is compromised. Right. So really going back to the basics, let's fix the skin barrier. Let's focus on that layer of skin that we need to really protect.
Yeah.
And then everything else pretty much works on its own.
Yeah.
Also, when you're formulating, so St. Joe is plant-based, right? And formulating with plant-based ingredients, and we layered them where each product goes on, and then the next one just almost helps push those actives even deeper in. So all of our active ingredients are plant-based, and they have been clinically tested. So it really does help with instantly starting to see your hyperpigmentation or melasma fading, because it's, there's those clinicals behind that plant-based ingredient that's really going to, remove and help that uneven skin tone. I suffer from hyperpigmentation and melasma, so for me, it was super important to make sure that that was part of the line, because I know as women, that's something that we pretty much all suffer from, even if it's not from being in Florida, being in the sun, hormonally, you get melasma during pregnancy, right? So really making sure that our 5-step skincare system really attacked a majority of our skin concerns so that we could give you everything you needed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love it so much. And then in addition to the topical products, you also have the supplements for AM and PM.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So
Please.
We know that skincare, right? What's going on in your system, in your gut, will show up on your skin, right? In your hair, on your skin. So you can't just approach skin health topically. You have to approach it from within. So for us, it was really important that we formulated plant-based supplements that can really give you all of the things from the inside. So you're going to get your vitamin C, you're going to get your hyaluronic acid, you're going to get your skin cell rejuvenation from the inside out when you're using a full system that's working together. I love that we're one of the only supplements out in the market that don't have fillers, don't have synthetics, completely plant-based, right? So you can trust that you're putting something good into your body. And then the extra benefits, right? It's going to help, balance your hormones, your gut, microbiome. It's really going to add other essentials to your daily routine. So we have 2, which is an AM glow. So really going to give you that extra boost of glow, have vitamin C, a little bit more energy, right, from the inside. But then our PM, which is really great, it has the adaptogen mushroom in it to kind of help you sleep a little bit more, because we know that we get our best recovery when we're sleeping. So if you're not getting, and we talked about this earlier, right?
Yes.
We have to prioritize sleep. It's so important for women in general, anyone in general, right?
Yeah.
So having a supplement that is going to give you your beauty rest, who doesn't need that?
No, literally everyone. And like we were saying, especially as entrepreneurs are just like busy people. Like we're recording in December, and it's like, I think for everyone feels extra pressure this time of the year to like buy more, do more, just kind of be everywhere all at once. You were saying to me, like, I think you just need to like take a day to lay on your couch. And I was like, I absolutely do. Yeah. And I think so many of us do. And a little help when you are more stressed to just calm down and get your quality rest is so important.
So important. So if you need a little boost, take your PM supplement to help you rest.
I have been, and they are amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
They're so good.
And everything comes in this like gorgeous bag that I've been also carrying. Like I take it to the gym every morning. I just like throw my little essentials in it. You just master the aesthetic. I'm so obsessed.
So that was the point, right? Women don't want to sacrifice on luxury products that actually work but are safe for the skin. So that is really where St. Joe wants to be part of your lifestyle in all of those essential ways. So how can we make sure we're treating your, overall wellness as a full body movement versus, just really giving you one product. There really is no one miracle product out there. You have to treat this health as a full body system.
I love it. First of all, I want to go back to while you were working in corporate America, what role were you in? Were you developing the products? Were you merchandising? Like, what role were you in that made you think, A, I want to do this on my own, and B, I can do this on my own?
Mm-hmm. So I have been head of product development for most of my career.
Okay.
So I started, worked my way up the corporate ladder, but always in product development, design, production, manufacturing, sourcing. So that was always my DNA in my corporate world. And while I was with the last company, I had helped, I don't really tell many people this, but I helped them grow from 20 million to 200 million in 4 years.
Whoa.
I know. So that realization was, I can do this on my own. So,
oh my God, I freaking love that.
Yeah. So that was, these guys were marketing genius.
Yeah.
So I'll give them that credit. But it was all of my designs, my factories, my partnerships. I, helped them hire all of our teams. I helped manage, I managed our China office, overseas offices. So it really gave me the challenge that I needed at 30 years old, and it was probably one of the best moments of my life, but also some of the lowest moments of my life. At that time too, I was gaining all of this weight. I was working so hard all the time for someone else's business, and I was putting all of my energy, my personal energy and my work energy into this company that ultimately wasn't mine, right? And I was neglecting myself. I was neglecting, what are the things that are making me a better person? I was like soaring in this career.
Right.
But at home, behind all of it, I was losing myself. So that was really, at some point after like 5 years with them, I had, just said to myself, if I want to elevate my life, I have to start with myself. And that was kind of that moment that I started, writing down on paper, what do I want my future to look like? And okay, let's make one change every day to get to that point. And that was pretty much how I started.
Okay, I have so many questions. I want to start with, where do you think you got the work ethic? And I suffer from this too, where it's like, if I'm working for myself or I'm working for someone else, like I am pouring all of myself into it, and I have to really intentionally not overdo it because I'll get burned out. And for me also, like, burnout tends to look like weight gain a lot of the time because my cortisol is just like up, and then crashes. It really affects my hormones. So A, where do you think that work ethic and that drive, that need to prove, comes from?
I definitely have to say I come from a very long line of very successful family members. So both my grandfather and my father built their own companies from the ground up. So just watching that and being part of that lifestyle, I knew if you wanted a certain life, you had to work for it. And they also installed that in us. So even though, we were very fortunate growing up, they still made sure that we had a strong work ethic. If we wanted an allowance, we had to work for it, right? We always had to have jobs, summer jobs if we weren't in school. So we were able to, benefit from them, but also there was nothing free, right? We had to make sure that we were working hard and helping out around the house and, doing the both sides. So the feminine duties in my old school family, but also watching that, wow, these people can build something from the ground up with nothing, right? My father and my grandfather came from, very little, and they were able to, build themselves a beautiful career and life. So I think just even seeing that, even some of the women, if they didn't work, they worked really hard at home. They made sure. So I was able to see both and how me as a woman and me as a businesswoman wanted to make sure that I found both balances. I wanted to still be a wife and have some of that old school tradition, but I wanted to be this powerhouse career woman. And I always kind of had that drive in me.
Okay.
So I knew in every company I worked for, I always wanted to be in my boss's seat. I wanted to be in my boss's seat. And I just then said, okay, how do I get there? And then follow that path. And if it was running, anytime someone asked for something, I made sure I was the first one to get up and do it. And I think that really kind of helped push my career pretty fast because I just knew if I wanted it, I had to get it for myself.
Yeah.
So that was really, what drives the I'm going to get there fast.
Yeah, you learned it from an early age and you watched from example. I love that you even give the example of like, even if the women in your family weren't doing traditional work, they were working really hard at what their responsibilities were.
Right.
Did you ever struggle with that like masculine, like feminine masculine?
I think I still struggle with it every day.
Yeah. Okay. That's really same.
I think, you see everything on social media. It's like, oh, women should be feminine, right? You don't need masculine energy. That's
Soft
the
life.
wrong role. And I think you just have to find what works and know that you need a little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
I think, you do need to tap into this masculine energy if you want to sit at the table with a bunch of men, right? And you deserve to sit there. You don't have to be completely masculine. That's what brings you to the table. It's something different, right? So tapping into your feminine energy, but then making sure that you're not letting anything pass you by. You're going to go where you need to go, and you're going to tap into that, which most men have naturally. So I think just really knowing that you need to find a balance of both and just don't listen to the noise, right? There's so much noise about it, and I think you just got to do what works for you.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think it's something that there's no shame in having to put a lot of intention towards finding the balance that works best for you. Mm-hmm. Because I've seen some very successful women in the workplace that really lean into their feminine, and then the complete opposite where they really lean into their masculine and it works for them. So it's like really just finding like what is your intuitive inner balance, and then kind of honing like, okay, I want to lean a little bit more into this side, a little bit more into the side. Like for me, I get very I feel like the feminine can be very like creative and more of that like type B of like I just want to like flow. Mm-hmm. But something you do that I love, or you're very good at that I love, is like you're very structured with your schedule. Mm-hmm. And I'm like my 2026 is I'm like I need to just like cut out some of the fluff in my routine, because at the end of the day, how much time did I spend doing all these little like wellnessy things throughout the day where it's like you're supposed to go outside and look at the sunlight and then be journaling and then meditating, and it's like how much time did I spend doing that stuff that took away from just getting work done in the morning so that I don't have to get back online after dinner at night and I can just actually like sign off and rest.
Mm-hmm. No. And I think we've talked about this, right? Where you have to give yourself that balance, but that allowance of, not every day might look the same, especially for entrepreneurs. My every day doesn't look the same, but what I can control, I try to make look the same. So whether it's getting up and going, getting my movement in, but then once I start work, I'm at work, right? Or if one day might be I have a lunch date or something, right? So just finding really that you don't have to do every single thing every single day.
Right.
That's, I think, the main thing that sometimes us as women get caught up. Oh my God, if I didn't get to go to the gym today, my week is ruined, right? Don't let yourself get to that point. Mm-hmm. Telling you, if you need a day on the couch with no movement at all, just do that.
Right.
But don't do it often. Don't do it every day. Don't do it every week. But if you need that, there should be no guilt to that, because that is self-care, right? That's also part of our recovery. So I think too, that is really important, that structure, because you can really block, I use my calendar for everything. I try to block my hours. If I have to work on a project, if I have a ton of meetings, I'm here with you. I make sure then my surrounding hours fit that in so that I can, when my husband comes home from work, we can have a nice meal together. Or, I can enjoy a movie once, a few days a week on the couch at night, right? So I try to really find that balance, but also it could just be the season that you're in, right?
Right.
So if it doesn't work that month, that's okay too. I
Right.
think that's what we see everything online and it's like, that's the way my life is supposed to be. But no, it just find what works for you and just try to be consistent with it.
100%. 100%. I totally agree. So you mentioned earlier while you were working your corporate job, you had kind of lost yourself, and as part of that, you had gained a lot of weight. Have you always struggled with your weight to some degree, or had you?
Yes, I think really, those later years of high school into college, I definitely was struggling with hormone balancing, weight gaining, yo-yo dieting, right? That was like the height of the 90s where
Yes.
I was thinking about it earlier of like every diet I've ever done, right?
Oh, yes.
I did Jenny Craig
Did
during
you?
college. Like that was my meal plan. My parents gave me the money to do Jenny Craig, right? And at that time, that was the solution. If I
Yeah.
didn't want to eat the cafeteria food,
Yeah.
I knew I was getting, the calories that I needed. And I was getting my meals, in my freezer in my dorm room. And that was what I was doing to lose weight. I did lose the weight, right? And whether or not, that diet is for you, it was the consistency of just following it that works, right?
Yeah.
Any
True.
diet. If you're keto, if you're, if we tried everything, once you stop doing it, the weight comes back, right? So really during that, that corporate time, the yo-yoing, when you stopped dieting, because I didn't even know better. All I knew was, okay, you have diets to choose from, choose one and try
Right.
to stick with it.
Okay.
It's really hard to stick with a diet. I'm
Forever.
Italian. We wanted to go out to dinner, right? Trying to figure out how to make a diet work with my life was the wrong approach. And I think a lot of women didn't know how to, if they were feeling that way, you're overwhelmed. So, okay, what do I do now? And I think that was my moment of, I feel like I'm at my lowest internally. I'm at my heaviest weight, 3 years ago. And I just knew something had to change. And I just knew I couldn't go back to another diet. Like I just can't go back to another fad diet that I'm going to lose weight and then I'm going to gain 2 times more
Right.
when I stop it, because it doesn't work for my lifestyle. So that was really, something I struggled with for a long time, because you could have had me try anything at that point, right?
Yeah.
So
Was there a rock bottom moment where you were like, I'm done and I'm making a change?
yeah. So my husband and I had just gotten engaged, and I was like looking back at just the family photos. We didn't even do engagement photos,
Okay.
Because I was not feeling good about myself. I didn't even want to pay for engagement photos, right? And that's sad as a woman. And I think feeling that way was a moment of, wow, I'm in a pivotal moment in my life that I don't even want photos for. I'm like, I'm going to be sad in 30 years when I look back and I don't have that, right? So that was a moment for me. And then looking at the family photos and seeing that I want to truly be happy, and I want to start a marriage where I feel good about myself,
Yeah.
so that I can feel good about my partner. And I think not being able to give myself fully to my partner was also doing him a disservice in our marriage.
Yeah.
So I didn't even want to start our marriage being unhappy with myself. So that was that moment of, I needed to change my life before I committed myself to someone.
I love that. It is. That was a very transformative time of my life too. And I think I had very many there was a lot of aha moments along the way with that, because I had, for a lot of my life as well, honestly, for example, I put starting a podcast on my vision board in 2020.
Wow.
For 2025, which is so crazy. Something I do is I make, right now I have a vision board going for next year, but also one for 2030.
Yep.
And people say don't do that. I don't know why, but it works for me. I like it. But during that time, from 2020 till really 2023, it was always just the self-care that would allow me to feel comfortable in front of a camera. I was just backburnering. I was just and I was telling myself this story of my body's broken, basically. And then I did a similar thing where it was I got engaged, and I had actually been feeling a lot better about myself and feeling a lot better physically. But that was a big moment where I was I want to like the way I look.
Right.
This is probably the one time in my life that I'm no, this day is going to be about me and us, but it's really like the bride, you know? And like,
Totally.
I want to like it.
Right.
I don't want to be like cowering in front of the camera or like hiding away. So it is. It's like interesting how that moment can have such a big impact on your life. So so you said no diet. You didn't go keto. You didn't go carnivore. What did you do?
No. So honestly, I sought out a trainer and I, asked him to help me nutritionally. So he gave me a workout plan every month. We would train about 3 times a week, and then also my meal plan. And I just followed it. And it took, 6 months to really start building habits. I was still going out on the weekends. So all of the work I was doing during the week, I was probably then, going off track on the weekend. So it took some time to start shedding those old habits, but having someone on my side that was really there to say, okay, how can we get better next week? I think that was really important. And just going back to eating basic, healthy, whole foods, right? That was that like, oh yeah, this is actually easy, right? This is actually normal. I don't have to stop eating carbs. I don't have to stop eating, meat or whatever it is. I can find what works for me, find what makes me feel good, right? So that was really small changes. I did, try to weigh things out. I was a little strict in the beginning just to figure out, okay, let's get some structure going. But then as my body started changing, as I started feeling good, and then I started being confident in knowing what to eat and what to choose, that's when then I started establishing what's actually working for me. And I made it a lifestyle.
Right. I don't know if we said this before, but so you were at your highest weight when you got engaged. And then how much weight did you lose over time?
Yeah. So I am down over like 85 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I just have full body chills. That's crazy.
It is crazy. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, I want to cry for the woman I was, but I want to thank her so much for putting us where we are right today, right?
Yeah.
And it took me about almost 2 years to lose all that weight.
Wow.
It wasn't like a fast, weight loss, but it was.
And you didn't use GLP-1s or anything?
No, I really, before the wedding, I probably was down about 35 to 40 pounds before the wedding.
Okay.
And then right after the wedding, it all just like came off even faster because I feel like I wasn't stressed about the wedding.
Yeah.
So after the wedding, I just was like, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to see, I'm going to make this part of my life. And I was building my company. Also, I was working still full-time corporate, building my company. So that was a huge, time for me to really discuss with myself, okay, we're going to change our life. We're going to start building the life that we want to live. And I gave up drinking. That was a huge part of, why I was able to build St. Joe while working full time. And I, and part of my weight loss journey, right? I loved my wine. We loved our cocktails. We loved all of that. And I completely stopped it. And that was a huge, huge win for me.
For how long?
About 1.5 years. I mean, it was a long time that I really prioritized my health and my business.
Yeah.
I prioritized my future. I like to say that. Like I
love that.
really prioritized my future, and I made the choices every day to make sure that I was getting the future that I really dreamed of.
Yeah. I love that so much. Alcohol makes such an impact. It's like such an unfortunate truth because I do love a drink.
And I love the taste. I truly
yes.
love the taste. If anyone can just make us a really great non-alcoholic dirty martini, please send it my way. Because
or like a really good red wine.
I know.
I love a really good red wine.
But I have to say, though, now that I've found balance, I know how to incorporate some of that back into my routine.
Yeah.
It's not very often, but when I do want a drink, I have one. I allow myself one. But I'm actually at the point where I'm like, one and I'm good. And that's what I needed. Or I can go out to dinner and just say no drink for me tonight. And that's all of that makes me happy. Knowing that I have the power to make that decision makes me happy.
Yeah.
I think where I was always failing in diets was the restriction, right? I think I've told you this before. I really do try to not restrict myself on anything because that's what makes me more overwhelmed than just living a balanced life. Right. So that really just having that choice. Sometimes then I choose just not to have it because I have the choice where
Right.
no one's telling me I can't do it, right?
Right. So when you do, like if you're going out to dinner, I assume like the meal plan that your trainer had made you and kind of what you follow now is the lean protein, vegetable, clean carb.
Yes.
And then do you do the same thing if you go out to dinner? You just prioritizing like your protein and then kind of building around that?
Yes. So really what we were doing at that time when we pretty much after the wedding was we had completely decided that we were going to be really strict on 80% of our meals done at home. So we went out and got, new dishes, new things to be fun
Yeah.
and want to cook and stay home. So we then, found new recipes, found things. We got a new grill. So my husband grilled protein every night. We made a beautiful salad and we had a carb, right? Whether it's a rice, a sweet potato, whatever we wanted, we then had. So that was really helpful to start learning how to eat just whole foods and cooking more. And then when we go out, we do always make sure we have protein just so that this way we're filling ourselves up. But if we want pizza, if we want a pasta, we just make sure we're going to a high quality place.
Yeah.
So I really try to stay away from seed oils, stay away from the things that I know is not going to make me feel good and not going to make me, look the way I want to look. But I think just finding the balance and just if we want pizza, we go to a high quality pizza, pizzeria and we have some pizza, we eat some chicken, we put some grilled chicken over salad or fish and then we just move on. And then the next day we're back to cooking at home, right? So, but especially being on the road, I think those habits help me now traveling because I was always the one that gained so much weight during my travel and I'd come home and it would take me a week or two to just get back on track, right? So now prioritizing, how to make those choices when I'm traveling has removed so much of the stress. It's, not always perfect, but it's just easier.
Yeah. I love that so much. So how do you think, you kind of did both at once. You were building St. Joe while still working your corporate job, got married in the process, and were losing weight. I gained a lot of confidence in myself, even just like getting physically stronger. Like you strength train.
Yes.
And that for me, like it does something mentally where when you're physically stronger and you feel physically strong, I feel more mentally strong. And like I feel like I enter meetings and enter situations in work with more confidence in myself. Did you feel the same way?
Honestly, I didn't even realize how much more confidence I was going to gain. And it had nothing to do with the weight, really.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with, the number on the scale, but it truly gave me power. It felt like I was in control of my life, that I felt more powerful. I felt then that because I was in control of my life, I could then control a room I was walking into. I can then control more people I was trying to meet, right? When you're constantly upset with yourself, that's all you're thinking about. You're not then thinking about you're worthy of something else, and really doesn't have to do with the weight. It has to do with how you feel, right? We were groggy. We were sleeping all the time. We were, not doing activities. I knew that wasn't the life I wanted to live. It didn't matter the size that I was. It just really mattered the momentum I was giving myself each day. So losing weight was giving me more momentum, was giving me more, let's go try pickleball, let's go do this, right? So that was giving me confidence and that was giving me that power to say, keep going. Let's see how far we can go, and it just doesn't stop.
Yeah, there is something so nice, like when you're feeling mentally clear and light and strong, like it just translates in all areas of your life, right?
It really does.
And Matt, your husband, has been so supportive throughout this process too, right?
So supportive. He's actually been on the journey with me, right? So just, I'm very fortunate that I had someone that, was like, okay, we're doing it, right? You're not doing it, we're doing it. So, I always try to say, make sure your partners support you in some way. It doesn't have to be as extreme as Matt is with me. And he cooks for us now. So he measures things out for himself because he's on his journey. For me, I know what my plate should look like at this point. It's been 3 years, right? So I'm a little bit more flexible, but I think just having a support system really is so important. It doesn't have to be your partner. It can be a friend. It can be a parent, a sibling, but surround yourself around people who want what you want.
Yeah, they want the best for you. Even like I always talk about, Mike is not on a wellness journey. Like Mike is on the anti-wellness journey because he's so sick of
Love
like
that
being
for him.
surrounded by it all day. I know. I'm always like, God, if I could just look like, if people could look at me and think I looked like like a healthy version. He was 230 pounds because he's 6'3". Like it's just like, and
It's
he's
not
just
fair.
he has the athletic build.
Yep.
Like he works out like once a month and like looks amazing. I'm just kidding. He works out more than that, but
He's gonna be mad.
I know. No, it's fine. But he is so supportive of me. Like I've been gluten-free for almost 5 years now. And honestly, when we go out to eat, he knows how much I hate asking the waiter, like, is this dish gluten-free, blah, 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 or do you have gluten-free bread? He'll be the one to ask for it. And it's like the little things like that go like such a long way. And it's just like little support, you know? And like he has been on the mission to find the best gluten-free pasta and the best gluten-free bread. That way we can enjoy the meals that he loves so much, still with me being able to enjoy it as well. And it goes a really long way.
It's so important. And that honestly takes some of the overwhelm away from you, right?
does.
That's not even just an amazing partnership, but it also takes that load off of you, which that helps. And then you kind of can put your energy somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are the non-negotiables in your routine? We talked about the fact that you have, the thing, not everything is going to happen every day, but what does happen for you every day?
So for me, my routine when I'm at home is, I wake up, I like to get movement in. So for me, that's weight training. And then I like to, play with my dogs, right? I like to have a little bit of a structured morning. I drink my coffee in bed. I know I'll get a lot of hate for that. I do, but
I love
that just makes me happy as a person. And my body's been able to tolerate it. So if it works for me, that's what I do for myself. So I think that's also something that's a non-negotiable. Find what works for you and just do it. Don't listen to everything else. I think that's really what I kept thinking, like, what are some of my non-negotiables? And it's just what makes me feel good, right? What makes me feel good and what keeps me wanting to go back to that. So whether, it's the gym, it's Pilates, it's a walk, if I'm having fun doing it, I'm going to keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
So I also intermittent fast. That works for me. Maybe not every day does it work for me. Some days I wake up hungry, and if I'm hungry, I eat, right? I try not to like restrict myself like I mentioned. So, but most of the time, by 11 o'clock, my body's hungry, I eat. And that really does help me, especially when I'm traveling. That also helps me kind of keep my balance going too. If I can't control, the amount of calories that are in a cooked, meal out at a restaurant. So that's really some of the things that work for me. But there are some mornings where I have a busy morning start with meetings and I don't get to go to the gym, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And giving yourself that, recognition that it's okay. You just go back to your routine when you can.
I love that. What advice would you give to a woman who wants to start their own brand? They want to take the plunge. Like they're at that moment that you were at. What advice would you give to your younger self or someone who's in that position?
I honestly think if you trust your gut and you have the passion and the why behind it, write down a path to get you there. I think there's space for everyone. And I think every idea is, could be built upon. So I do think if, my younger self almost needed validation from people. And I didn't always get validation. I always got the, oh, you're going to start a beauty line, a skincare line, that's really saturated, or, oh, that's really expensive.
Did you get that a lot?
Oh, I got that a lot. And I got that actually with people who are involved in St. Joe, who want to be involved because they see, oh, wow, you found the white space. And you know what? This is something.
Yeah.
So there were plenty of people. Also, I think what I did and what I thought was successful for me is I kind of moved in silence. And in the beginning,
oh yeah,
I didn't even tell my parents that.
Really?
Yes, I didn't even tell my parents that I was starting my own company, and I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna figure out how to do it. And I just made one decision every day. I then sought out my creative director, who is still with me today, who helped me with my logo, right? I had the name. I'm like, let's figure out a logo. Then, I went to my packaging partners. I want to start a brand. Here's my brand. Here's the packaging I'm needing. and we sourced the packaging. I was working with the chemist. These are the products and the ingredients that we need to build upon. We started with that, right? So it was like doing these small things that just kept compounding. Next thing you know, I had a full company.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, guys, we're about to, we need a warehouse now. We need all of these things because this is happening, right?
Yeah.
And it was just, you just keep trusting your gut, block out the noise, and just move in silence. And then it wasn't until I got my bottles and I had the full presentation, that's when I sent the pictures to my family. And I was like, this is what I'm doing. And people were just like, wait, what? You're doing what?
Wow.
And and I'm like, I'm going to launch in about 6 months. And
did you intentionally move in silence and not tell your family members because you didn't want their feedback?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I didn't want their feedback. I didn't even want the extra pressure on myself because it was already high pressure enough. I just knew I was in the industry. I knew everyone I needed to know that were going to help me build this. And I just knew that I didn't have time to explain it, right? I just wanted to see how far I could get it. And then, I was able to still launch and, invite them to the launch and all of these things. And yeah, it really was just because I kept knowing, just keep moving forward. Don't listen to the noise. Although I know they would have been super supportive, but they would have asked 1,000 questions, right?
Totally.
And
I'm just like smiling to myself because I had a psychic tell me that a while ago of like I am someone who like I struggle, like I'm the least mysterious person on earth. But there's value in like I'm trying to think of how she said it to me because she said something like move in silence, like, and she was like, don't be telling everyone everything.
No.
Like just tell people what they need to know and just like less talking, more doing. And I've heard Beyonce say that as well. Like, stop talking about what you're going to do. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And that was even the weight loss, right? I would see friends and they'd be like, look at you. And they were like, I didn't know. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to call you up and be like, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to go on a diet or I'm going to, stop eating this crap.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's once again with those things too. It's like, I'm sure you had in younger years been like, I'm doing Jenny Craig. I'm doing Weight Watchers. And then it's almost this like added pressure when you do fail with one of those things. It feels like even more like there's even more heartache there because you kind of did it publicly and people saw.
And we're human, right? We all have those
Right.
those emotions. So I think it was just easier for me to just let's put the faith in myself and see how far I can take it.
I love that. Who do you look to for inspiration in beauty and in business?
I think about this question often, and I feel like I could easily say one amazing guru who has done it and paved the path for us. But I think it's just talking to the everyday women in my life or the people that I meet, and they're the ones that inspire me. That, what are the concerns? Because if I keep thinking to myself, if I go to just the top, right, the guru, the Estee Lauder, the Bobbi Brown of the world who, we idolize, there's still skin concerns. There's still concerns that everyday women haven't found a solution for.
Right.
So those are the people that inspire me because why didn't they find their routine? Why aren't they fully happy with the products that they have? And that is who inspires me. I meet all the time just women battling hormonal issues, battling cancer, and they don't have, or pregnant, right? Just, you don't have to be sick. And they don't even know what products to use. They don't know the products that they use. They say they smell bad or they're not luxury. Those are the women that we formulate for.
I love that. And I think that's such a good way to put it, that you're like, if somebody had done exactly what I was looking to do, there wouldn't be the space for me to do it.
Right, exactly. So I'd rather listen to what people need and figure out a solution for that.
I love that. Okay, before we wrap up, I want to do some rapid fire with you.
Okay, let's do it.
Retinol, yay or nay?
Nay.
Why?
Okay, so retinol for me, there's so many amazing benefits to retinol that, if it works for you, like I mentioned, then continue that. But there are other ways to achieve what retinol, is clinically proven to do in a safer, less harsh way. And I think that is really where people are not understanding that you don't have to burn, you don't have to itch, you don't have to, have these harsh ingredients to achieve the results that you want.
Yeah, you don't have to go through. I remember we used to have an esthetician that would call it like the retinol uglies, where it's like for 3 weeks, like your skin is going to look ugly.
Yeah.
When you start using retinol, because it's like shedding, and there is something intuitively there where you're like, is that good?
Yeah, no. Listen, there are some times where you might need a protocol for a very limited amount of time, right? You're suffering from something, or you just need to kind of, kickstart and then get yourself on a balanced routine. But I do think, the amount of risks that come with retinol or those type of ingredients, I don't think outweigh the benefits when you can achieve them other ways.
Yeah, I agree. No, that was honestly something. And, living in Florida, but living anywhere, the sun is out everywhere. And that is something that I always used to worry about. It was like, okay, did I use retinol? Am I walking to the gym in the morning? Even with sunscreen, like, you have to be very careful. Mm-hmm. And once again, it's like, if something is like so dangerous to be like in the sun, like, why are we doing it? It's honestly so relaxing for me now that I get up in the morning and I'll put a little SPF on before I walk to the gym. Mm-hmm. But I'm not worried because the St. Joe products are not like, I'm not going to accidentally fry my face,
Definitely not.
How do you feel about the Sephora Clean Beauty stamp?
So I think Sephora Clean Beauty stamp is a great way to start your clean beauty journey. But I think you need to really be educated in what is the clean beauty stamp, right? To me, it's your basic level of what you should have in your products, right? It's the no sulfates, the no parabens, the PEGs. That's the bare minimum. Mm-hmm. That is the bare minimum. So that really should be every company's standard. It shouldn't be their clean standard. It should just be a standard. So I think, to me, that type of greenwash marketing is hard, but it's somewhere to start, right? Yeah. So if you're new to it, or that's okay to start there, but really educate yourself on what you're putting on and in your body.
Is there a good resource for people to educate themselves that you recommend?
There are. You can definitely go on EWG. There's that certification. Okay. There's a few other platforms. I'm blanking right now, but there are where you can even just scan, even now, ChatGPT, scan the ingredients and ask them,
right,
what are the risks to this product, right, long term, and they'll break it down for you. And I think that's having all that knowledge and that power right in our phones, in our hands. We shouldn't have to expose ourselves to these harsh chemicals anymore.
Yeah, I agree. What's one skincare myth you wish would disappear forever?
Okay, so for me would be the inconsistent morning shed, right? So this morning shed of more products, more things on your skin in the moment might look really great because of the glycerin or the silicones that there are in there, but long term, it's just not going to do you any good when it comes to skin longevity.
Are most of those masks that people are sleeping overnight in full of silicones?
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
And that's why you're getting an amazing shield right away on your face, because silicone on the skin looks really good. It blurs everything out, right? Yeah. It's giving a really great feature. But have we looked at what silicone does? Right. One, for our bodies, two, for the environment. It's there's a lot to that, and long term, your skin is just going to kind of shrivel. Yeah. When you keep putting these harsh ingredients on your skin almost stops working on its own. Yeah. Because the ingredients are so harsh that they're doing the work for you, and your skin will age so much faster. It's like the effects of alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. You keep putting alcohol in your body, your cells kind of stop working.
Yeah.
They might not in that very moment, but long term, they do. It's the same thing with these harsh chemicals that people really aren't realizing the long-term effects of these products.
I keep thinking of I feel like everyone's grandma used cold cream ponds, right? Mm-hmm. Or olive oil, if your grandmother's from Italy, right? And it's our grandma, my grandmother had the most beautiful skin until the day she died. And it's because it was never stripped. She wasn't doing all these harsh lasers. Like, it was just, she's always kind of had this really like moisturized glow. And I feel like this is like the modern day version of that.
Thank you for actually bringing that up, because that's actually a core thing for us when we formulate any product. We go back to our ancestors. Why did our ancestors look better
Right.
than our parents, us, right? Why did their skin age so much nicer? And it was because they were just simple. Like,
Yeah.
it was just simple things. Even though that, one, cream that they were using probably had ingredients that we didn't realize weren't good, but it was just one product. It wasn't 50 million products switching up all the time, right? That's another thing, is consistency.
Right.
The industry has told us that we should use different products all the time, and we definitely should not. We need consistency. If that's also another one tip to give, is just be consistent. Be consistent morning and night. Be consistent on your travel. Same thing with your health, right? And the way
I was
you
just
eat.
about to say that.
Just be consistent,
Yeah.
and your body is going to just stay in rhythm.
Yeah. Love it so much. What is the most overrated product category in skincare right now, in your opinion?
That's a great question. Probably the medical grade skincare.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Just because I was a huge medical grade, user, but I didn't know what they really were and how long term all of those harsh ingredients really, what that was doing.
Yeah.
So I think, medical grade might be great for someone, might be great short term to get your skin you just kind of back to balance, but long term, I think, I would really avoid, or just know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people need to hear that, because it's easy to get sold on, like, you start getting facials and the esthetician's recommending like more and more products. And once again, it's like the one tingles and the other one burns and the other one makes you a little red, and it feels like it's doing all this stuff.
Right.
And it's
Right.
damaging over time. What is one wellness trend you think is actually worth the hype?
So I always go back to consistency. No matter what wellness trend you do, if you're consistent with it, it's probably worth the hype, right?
Okay.
But for me, I love red light.
Yeah?
Anything red light,
I love red
I'm
light.
in for.
Do you have a red light mask?
I do. I have a red light mask.
Which one do you have?
I have the Omnilux one.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
And you really like it?
I really like that one.
Okay.
Sometimes I know they have like the one with the chest.
Yeah.
But I have just the mask, and then I'll put it on my chest. Sometimes
Oh,
I even
that's a
put
good
it on
idea.
my stomach.
Oh, that's a great
I just
idea.
kind of keep moving it around.
Yeah.
I probably just need to invest in like the full body red light.
Yeah.
But those are expensive. But I
And
definitely
with red light, I actually prefer like a mask or something. Like, we have the red light bed here, the light stem. So ours is just a flat bed with a face panel, and we recommend 20 minutes on the front, 20 minutes on the back, because you actually need the proximity to the skin
Yep.
to get the benefits. Like, if you have like a tanning bed type one, it doesn't, the proximity to the skin on the top layer, like, it's not doing anything.
Wow.
Because it's not close enough. So it's actually really good to have. That's why I want a mask at home to just do every morning. And I see you ice roll too, right?
I definitely. Oh, I'm a huge advocate for like lymphatic drainage. That's actually, we didn't talk about that.
Okay.
That was a big part of my weight loss journey too. I got
Wait,
weekly,
really?
Yes, I got weekly lymphatic drainage massages. I mean, we're talking 4 years now.
Wow.
And that was a huge success for me that I still continue to today. So anything that has, that helps you drain. So my shake plate, I've been using a shake plate for 4 years.
Really?
Yes, I have been using this. That was also a big part of my weight loss journey.
Okay.
I still use, during my journey, I probably used it 3 times a week, maybe 4. Now I'll probably do it twice a week. I probably got to get back on it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But that relieves and helps with like muscle recovery and just water retention, all of that. And then for the face, the gua sha, been using that for so long.
I use
And
the metal one.
Yep,
and
the
I'm
metal one.
Obsessed.
I have like the one of the quartz ones. It's so amazing. And then the ice rolling, right? All of those things that you can naturally do. It comes from the earth, right?
Yeah.
Just go back to basics.
Yeah.
And those things work.
I love that. I didn't know you were, I got on my vibration plate this morning, and I was
my
like,
gosh.
I need to do this more.
Yeah, no, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It really helps. What is the big wellness tip for skin health? So like outside of using great products, like what's one thing for your wellness that you think makes a big difference?
I know I've said this before, but consistency.
Yeah.
I have to always just go back to that because I'm a huge advocate for finding what works for you and just stick with it. I think that to me, sometimes when I'm not motivated, I don't need motivation if I stay with my consistency. So I think that it doesn't matter. If you love to cold plunge and you're good at cold plunging, keep cold plunging, right? If you're whatever it is, just stay consistent with it and you'll see the benefits. You'll then want to do another thing, right? And you'll kind of keep habit stacking if you just stay consistent. Because I could sit here and tell you, do this, do that, but no one needs extra overwhelming advice.
Right.
Just find what works for you and stay consistent.
Yeah. Somebody was just asking me like, what's going to be your New Year's resolution? And I was like, oh, I haven't thought about it yet. But I was thinking that like, I feel like where I've gone wrong in years past is like, okay, I'm going to overhaul my whole life all at once. And that's why everybody fails at their New Year's resolution, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week when I haven't gone at all the last year. And it's like, I think if we can just choose one habit that you can do daily, so you can just make it part of your routine, you can have the consistency with it, but something small and attainable. Like for me, I have my walking pad at my desk. I walk at least 1 mile every day on my walking pad.
Amazing.
And that's 1 more mile than I'm walking without it, right? Some days, yesterday, I think I walked 7 miles at my desk, which is like, I love a day like that.
Yeah.
That's rare, though. Usually it's closer to
You had
1.
a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I did. I was actually at my desk. Usually I'm like just
Walking around.
all over the place. Yeah, I'm in like the conference room. I'm in here. But yeah, and it's like, I think like just choosing one thing. So whether it's doing your skincare every night, that's the other thing. It's like your system is 5 steps. And it's just like, it's just easy. Because I feel like we've all been in that place where it's like, I don't even know. I have like 14 different products. Sometimes I use some of them. Sometimes I don't. And it's just, yeah, when I used to go out and drink a lot, I would not wash my face at night. And then was wondering why I had like so many blackheads and breakouts.
Your skin looks amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
You're glowing.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think it's a lot. I mean, it's great products, obviously great supplements, but hydration, I think, is such a big thing for skin.
Absolutely.
And eating, like I just eat so many fruits and vegetables, and I feel like that is so underrated.
Absolutely. Actually, that reminds me, I'm a very big believer in eating the seasonal fruits and vegetables.
Ooh,
so that's
okay.
actually something that I really started incorporating this year. Whatever, I try not to like get fixated on, this is what I have, a sweet potato and a salad or whatever. Whatever the supermarket has that's fresh, that's what I'm going to make that week. That's actually been really helpful with even like my hormone balancing or just reducing bloat and inflammation. So definitely that is a very good wellness tip to kind of keep going on.
Yeah. I love that. So yeah, lastly, what's your next step both personally and with St. Joe? Like what should we be looking out for with St. Joe? And what's kind of next on your docket?
Yeah, so we're actually going to be launching overseas. So I'm not announcing it yet, but we will be launching in one of our first stores early 2026.
Oh my gosh, so exciting.
And then honestly, next year I'm hoping that you'll see us in some stores here in the U.S., but you'll definitely see us overseas. Yeah,
that's so exciting. I know you were on a billboard in London. I was fangirling so hard for you.
I'm still fangirling over it. It's just, as a woman and an entrepreneur, those little moments, big moment at that time, but like you have to just keep reminding yourself that all of these things are so achievable and you just put it on your vision board and just keep checking them off.
Are you a vision boarder?
In my head. I'm a vision boarder in my head.
Okay.
Or in my like notes on my phone, I always just write down, what I want to do, but I have never formally made a board before.
We should do that this year.
Yeah, let's do it.
I love it. I make them in Canva. Like I've always been like a digital vision boarder.
Time for that. How do you have time for that?
It's a Sunday morning activity.
All right, I can do that on a Sunday morning.
It's my I can't think about anything. Like I just need to dream about the future. Yeah.
I love that.
Like it's like a creative activity for me.
That's amazing.
But I know like Sam loves to do like a proper like physical one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we should do that for the new year because I wonder, I feel like I would like the physical ones too.
That's funny. I feel like I was never a huge like arts and crafts person.
Yeah.
I always had like my mom help me.
Yeah.
But because I feel like because I put all of my creative outlet in products and building products and designing products, that I feel like I don't need other creative outlets. But
That's
you know
fair.
what? I'm gonna try it. I think
It's fun. I mean, hey, like no pressure.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing is working
I mean,
for
if
you.
you're gonna build a Canva board and I'm gonna come over, no problem.
I know. Next, I need like a big like interactive like iPad to just be like.
I'm like, you know what? Instead of dreaming about it, just go do it. Let's come on. What do you want to do?
know.
I'm gonna
Honestly,
just take
facts.
you and do it.
All right, you're right. Let me absorb more of what you're already doing.
I'm like, I don't need to waste my Sunday morning. I'm just gonna go and do it. Okay.
That's fair. That's really fair. Oh, the last question I have for you. So you recently, I was literally just like randomly scrolling through Instagram, and Melissa Wood Health, or Melissa Wood Tepperberg, is talking about using St. Joe. I gasped so loud. I was laying in bed. Mike was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Melissa Wood is using Allyse's products." And I like texted you immediately, and I was like, "Is this like, how did this happen?" You were like, "I know, we're freaking out."
Yeah, we were freaking out. I was not even here. I was in Paris after a work trip in London. My husband then took me to Paris for our anniversary, and we were sitting at dinner, and I get all of these text messages. But then I look at my phone and I see all of these Shopify like notifications, and I'm like, oh, we must be having a viral ad on Facebook. Like, this is so exciting, right? You know, we've been working so hard on Facebook and our ads team. And I'm like, oh my God, we got a viral hit, right? And I look at the text messages and they're like, Melissa Wood, Melissa Wood, Melissa Wood. And I'm like, what do you mean, Melissa Wood? Like, what does that even mean? And I go to Instagram and I see that she like put up these stories raving about St. Joe. And it just, at that moment, I just started crying in the restaurant.
That's
and
the only appropriate response.
Yeah, literally in the restaurant. I still cry about it, thinking about it now, right? Because she's a woman who's paved the way not only for entrepreneurship, but for wellness and for helping women feel good about themselves, right? So that was a huge moment for us and everyone behind St. Joe, just to see she trusts us with her skin. Oh my God, okay, then you know what? And it was such a real moment just to know, like, wow, like, you know, and I've had those moments in the past. I've built beautiful products and clothing for amazing people and brands. So I knew the people that are wearing it or using it have been so spectacular. But this is your, you know, when it's your own company, and
it hits different.
It hits so different. So thank you, Melissa Wood. That was a treat.
Because it was completely organic.
Oh yeah, it was completely organic.
Like, you sent her product and then she bought more, which I was just like,
yeah.
This
exactly. Seeing someone's name on your Shopify is just so unreal. And it's just keeps you remembering that, again, there's space for everyone. And if you have your strong why, just keep moving forward. Like, it's going to work out for you. It's okay.
I love that.
I know.
Do you have any goals? Like, obviously I'm sure she was like a huge goal that you probably didn't even think, like, you were probably like, yeah, we'll send her some product and I'm sure we'll never see anything from it. But like, do you have other people that you're sending product to now that you're like, that would be the dream?
Oh, yeah. So we have been able to gift names that I'm like, I am shocked. You know, I would never have thought in year one I would have been able, you know, writing someone's name on their card or their address was out of control. So of course I would love to see some of those names pop up, which are just, you know, household names. Taylor Swift, right? Mila Kunis. I mean, just like Hillary Swank. I mean, just like really cool people that I'm like, if I can be in their bathroom on their skin, like, that is just a huge, huge win, right? And it just goes to show that these products are needed.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, every day we get some type of amazing opportunity, or someone calls us that they've tried our product or heard about us or saw us in some, you know, magazine or something, and it just is, it's incredible.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Where can people find you?
Okay, so everyone can find us online right now at shopstjoe.com.
Okay.
You can find us and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at shop.stjoe.
Okay. And you're a good follow too. You've been putting out great content lately.
I'm really trying. The teams are really pushing me, and I'm really trying to tap into my content era.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for noticing.
Well, promote yourself too. Where can people find you?
So you can also follow me at Cirillo Allyse.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
This podcast was brought to you by Pureform, a comprehensive wellness center in Boca Raton, Florida. The website is pureformhealth.com, or you can find us on Instagram at pureformhealth. Feel free to message us with any questions, and note that you can connect with our providers for consultations over Zoom, from everything from stem cell therapy to hormone replacement therapy and peptide therapy. That's it for this episode of the Healthspan Collective. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Don't forget to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, we'd love for you to rate, review, subscribe, and send it to a friend. We'd also love to connect with you on Instagram. Follow the podcast at Healthspan Collective and me at Nicole J. Doran. And leave us a comment on our latest post, letting us know what you'd like us to cover next.